You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, welcome back to our second part of our show. We were talking earlier before we left about things that get redesigned after they're made. We talked about how reprogramming a vehicle. On a lot of cars, you may have a problem with the check engine light. You take it back, they say, okay, we have a problem with your mass airflow sensor. They look at it and say, well, we don't know what's wrong with it right now. We're going to go ahead and replace it. So they replace the mass airflow sensor or whatever the part may be, and everything seems fine, and you drive it, and 3 days later, you're back with the check engine light, same code. You're going, how can that part be bad? It was, it checked out good. What could be making it bad? So the shop maybe orders another part, sticks on there. It could be a defective one. So they put it on there, same problem 3 days later. What the problem is it's the software. The software has shifted, redesigned, got a bug in it, so to speak. It's like anything made by man that has a computer in it. Sometimes things just don't work right. And the manufacturer recognizes that as being a problem. They say, look, you've got this code, and if you got this code, we recommend that you change the part and you reprogram it with this new updated program that allows this part to work like it's supposed to, because we know that as a car gets older, things change a little bit. We don't have the amount of, things, something may be just quite different, just not the same. And so they recognize that, and they make adjustments to the program so that the light stays off and it falls within the emissions. Remember, when that check engine light comes on, that tells you, or the car is telling you, that you've exceeded federal emission guidelines by at least 10%. On some cars it was 20%, but at least 10%. And when it does that, that makes the light come on. And the light comes on, that MIL, or maintenance inspection light, or I call it the money indicator light. When that light comes on, in most cases, you have to spend money to figure out what's wrong with it. You do. You have to go to a shop, they plug in a light, and they go plug in their scanner and go, it looks like you got a large evaporative emission leak. Hey, did you leave your gas cap loose or fill the car up while you're running? And you go back there and look, and you find your gas cap's just dangling down. There's your check engine light. Put it back in, clear the light, everything's fine. You don't have a problem. And that sometimes happens. And I have some cars out there that'll tell you when you leave the gas cap off. I think Ford has a little light on there that tells you when you leave the gas cap off. They'll say, hey, you left the gas cap off, put it back on, you're going to get an emission light. The reason they put those things on there is to keep the gasoline vapors that are inside your gas tank from going into the atmosphere. Well, you say, well, what will that do? Well, believe it or not, that affects gas mileage, because it's gasoline vapors that your car uses. That's right, it's the gasoline vapor. It doesn't burn, quote, the liquid gasoline. It uses vapor. It turns into a mist where it's atomized into a fine mist, and then it usually turns into it's a vapor that's heated up, and that's what you're burning. You're not burning a liquid, and so that's what ends up happening on that part. So you end up having to get things changed where they'll work like they're supposed to, and you get things reprogrammed, and you get cars where they're working and doing as they're supposed to with that check engine light staying off. But when that light comes on, I don't know how many cars that come in here, I see black tape over them, over the light, over the check engine light. I mean, no matter what you do, they keep getting that light on there, and I ask them, I say, why do you put the black tape on there? He said, I get the same code, I've had every test done to it, and they can't find out what's wrong with it. My car runs fine, but I have a check engine light on. I said, well, your gas mileage is down a little bit. Well, not that I can tell. I don't see anything. My gas mileage hadn't changed. And I said, well, that light's on. Trust me, it's exceeding federal emission guidelines. Something's not right. And you're making it, if you were in another city that had emission inspecting, you wouldn't be able to get your car licensed when it came time to renew your tag. And they go, really? I go, yeah, that light means something. There's something needs to be taken care of. Putting black tape over it is not a solution to a problem. That's just, putting a Band-Aid, literally a piece of black tape over it, to ignore that. And that light will come on, literally that little check engine light will come on for 10,000 different reasons. But once it comes on, for one reason, it's not going to, you can't tell if you got another problem coming along. And what ends up happening is a lot of times I've had people come in with that check engine light on, and they say, yeah, I got a code for my evap underneath there. Gas cap, I've changed the gas cap, and I get underneath there, and I put the scanner on it, I'll find codes for running lean, I'll find codes for running too cool, I'll find codes for oxygen sensor not working right, or catalytic converter performance. I'll find all these things because people have ignored that check engine light for so long that things were not able to be run. Monitors could not be run. When that light comes on, nothing run. That's it. Nothing more is going to run. You're not going to get these what we call system readiness monitors to run, and you're not going to do checks on them, and things aren't going to be fixed. I've had people come in and say, "Look, I have this check engine light. I check it out, and it's just one little problem." And I say, "Look, I'm going to fix this one little problem, but it hasn't run all these system monitors. You may set other codes until they run all the system readiness monitors checked. There's a possibility you may have underlying problems." If your EGR doesn't work correctly, which I see happen all the time, that can destroy your catalytic converter. I know, people go, "What?" Honest to goodness, that can. I see that a lot. Oh, I got Karen calling. Well, she's calling this morning. We only got about 6 minutes left, but I'll get her on here. Karen, welcome back to calling. I thought you were going to be out of town today.
I was out of town, and I'll be going out of town again next month.
Okay.
I'm back.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. Well, the primaries are over. I know that we had some upsets, but it seems like a lot of the incumbents got reelected back in office. Seems like people seem to like whoever's in office, the status quo. They need to stay back in office. The people have spoken.
I know. I can't believe in District 5, the Phantom, Brad Drake won again.
Well,
he doesn't show up to events. He doesn't show up to debates. He doesn't show up to anything, and money talks, so I guess he won.
Well, I did happen to see Brad Drake show up at the Farm Bureau yearly report. I was there since I'm an aspiring bee farmer. I saw him there, but I do see them. I do see him around town ever so often. But he won against Bev Kilmer, and there was a problem there. A question about her eligibility to be able to run, I think, was a problem. But the biggest thing is we had a lot of incumbents. We had Glenn Hess is re-elected back in the 14th district, which affects. I think that affects. Does that affect you up there as well?
And some people just like the status quo, so
yeah.
I guess we have spoken.
Well, that's what, Bill Dozier was reelected in there. I like Bill Dozier. I like, I don't have any axe to grind with anybody in there, but after 12 years, I figured that's enough time for a lot of people to be out of, it's time to let somebody else get in there. But hey.
That's what I had figured also. I figured if this was the year of the new person, of getting some fresh blood, of getting some new ideas, this would have been it, but I guess not.
Well, it's just the way it is. But like I said, we have this is our form of democracy, our representative form of democracy. And a lot of people just, if they're an incumbent, they vote for them. And if they're not an incumbent, they don't vote for them. I guess, that's how the low information voter works, I guess. Maybe that's just my opinion.
Yes, you know what the sad part was? There were so many people that didn't vote.
Yes, and only 30% voted.
That's the part that's more disturbing than anything else. What was it that Plato said? He wrote the book called The Republic, where he described basically what goes on is as a country will aspire and then go into decline. Sounds like America. But what he said was those people that refuse to vote get ruled by those people who are lesser than they are.
Well,
and have no reason to complain.
Well, it has a lot of truth to that right there. It does seem like we kind of take our responsibility for voting and we give it to somebody else. And someone told me, Steve Edmonds, who's running for office up in your area, he says, if you don't run government, government will run you.
That's absolutely 100% correct. And what is with your election?
Well, my election really doesn't kick off till about now. We have to do the... after the primary, where mine starts, and I can talk about, my wife's looking at me going, all I can do is my wife says, you can't talk about your election on your show here.
I can ask you a question.
Well, you can ask me a question. Yes, you can. And
okay.
Well, and your question is, we're really trying to get it started to kick it off about now. Is what we're trying to do.
So you did not have a primary.
No, I'm not in the primary. I am only in the general election. That's where I'm at right there, and I'll be running for County Commissioner District 2. I don't have an axe to grind with anybody. I'm not mad with anybody. I'm not upset with anybody. I just figured the Bay County citizens need to have a choice in who they want to vote for. Someone shouldn't get into office without an election. They shouldn't be selected. They should be elected. And that's the main reason I'm running, and the timing is perfect. It really is. It's a great timing to be able to do this because I had no intention of running for office until all of a sudden I said, well, who else is running for this office? Is another Republican running? No. Is a Democrat running? No. So it's just this one person running? He goes, yes. So they're going to get into office without an election? Yes. That just doesn't seem right. So that's why I threw my hat in the ring and I'm putting my money up And I want to let the people of Bay County, it's a democratic process, pick who they would like to represent them of District 2 in Bay County. And that's,
Well, that is actually the way our government is supposed to run. And you are practicing a representative constitutional republic, which is exactly what is supposed to be done. The regular folks, the common people, there are not supposed to be a protected political class. The political class is supposed to be a servant of the people, and the people are ultimately supposed to be the king directing their servants what to do. Unfortunately, we've lost sight of that, and it's reversed. But hopefully we will gain sight of it back and get some of it back.
well,
While I was away, a few interesting things happened in Florida that people have to pay attention to, and that is two things. One, our nutrients and things that go, the toxins that go in the water, our elected officials agreed to raise the amount of toxins that can go in our water. They don't have enough problems in South Florida, so we have to be on them for doing that. And we had one family in the state of Florida that complained about the pledge, and all of them got together and wrote an opt-out so that children can opt out of doing the pledge in school.
And in my opinion, if they want to opt out, that's their right, but they have to suffer the consequences.
Exactly.
You know,
Unfortunately, there are no consequences. What we should be saying is that's fine if you want to opt out. There are no entitlements, no jobs, no nothing. If you come to America and you're not willing to stand for America, then why on earth did you come?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of people don't. A lot of people come here for the liberties and the freedoms, and sometimes not the responsibilities that come with it. That's why you and I are here. Karen, we're up against a break. We got to go. I'll be talking to you next week. Thank you so much for calling. You won't be calling next week, will you?
No, next week is a yes. I'll let you know.
Okay. All right.
It's the week of the 12th.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you then. Hey, it's James Morse along with Anna Marie Morse. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Bye-bye now.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.